Tranquility is not a word that I use often, or what I normally use to describe a game, but sometimes I come across something like flock, and that leaves me with that singular word floating around in my head. With a beautiful and clean art direction, simple and straightforward gameplay, the new creatures that you come across that have unique identifiers and noises to each and every one of them. I adored playing this game because it felt like it just wanted you to have fun soaring around its world. It wasn't worried with making things complicated or having intricate systems to play with. You learn just about everything that you need to know about the game in the first 30 minutes, and then you spend the next 3 to 4 hours collecting different weird types of birds that you can sometimes add to your collection. Going a tad deeper into what this game has to offer though, the story is very straightforward, where you're helping your Aunt Jane, who is a zoology professor. She's wanting to expand her research and compendium of creatures in this land. There are a few others that hang out in the village near her that will talk to you and sell you clothes, chat with you a little. There's also some others out in the open area that will provide you with some challenges if you want to partake in that. But for the most part, your job is to fly around and identify these new creatures to log for further research. And upon completing a zone, you unlock the next one and you just keep progressing along until all the fog in every single zone is gone. And that opens you up to explore the area freely, take in its beauty, and just have fun. Keeping track with these different creatures is fairly easy since you identify a creature and that will place them in the log for you. Then if you have the right whistle, you can more or less befriend or tame these birds to add them to your flock. Obtaining a whistle is as simple as having your sheep eat some grass on a hilltop, which at the end there's a creature hiding in it that has a piece of treasure, and then once you pull that creature out, the treasure comes out with it, which will sometimes be clothing or whistle or other small things. The mechanic for befriending these creatures or taming them is you just simply flying as close as possible, but then sometimes you gotta back up a little bit or fly in a little bit closer, and once you kind of hit that sweet spot where that bar aligns perfectly, then you hit it with the song and bam, you got it. Now it takes 2 to 3 of these to be able to have a bird tamed successfully, but once you add that to the group, you just keep moving along. And if you don't do the timing right, that's fine, the bird will flee and go away, but then you can find a new one and try it again. You'll have to redo this process in hopes of succeeding the next time. But as simple as this is, it is of course a little bit boring, but the game itself is not very long and it doesn't have many complicated mechanics to it. You simply fly around extremely fast in some cases, find a new creature, zoom in to identify, then attempt to add it to your collection. And that's about it for the basics of the game. It does not get more complicated than this. There is a day and night cycle though that allows for different types of birds to come out and be available for you to see their beauty. In the nighttime, everything has a serene glow to it, and the music will of course ebb and flow with your actions and the way that you're kind of moving throughout the world. The colors on display in this game, whether it be night or daytime, are amazing. And speaking of colors, you do get to customize your character quite a bit. When your sheeps eat the grass on the hilltop, they grow a thick coat of fur, and then you have to shear that off. Once you do shear off their fur, then you can take those resources back to one of the characters and buy some fancy new clothes. You can also customize your bird. This doesn't cost anything, you can do it at any time and make your bird be a mixture of different colors and spots and stripes. And then another thing that you can kind of customize is once you capture a specific bird, then you can always add or remove it to your existing flock. This way, if you like a certain creature, you can add multiple of them, or you can just take one of each and every individual bird, as much or as little as you would like. Flock in and of itself is a very short adventure that probably took me about 4 hours, and I'm only missing maybe a handful of birds, I would say less than 5, which all in all would take me only about 15 to 20 minutes to obtain the rest. I spent the majority of this time just flying around and searching for these birds on my own. I never opened a guide or a walkthrough or anything like that. I really did just enjoy myself when I was flying around, playing with these simple mechanics and absorbing the beauty of the world in front of me. Now, I played this game on controller and I had practically no issues throughout the entire time of playing. But there were some random spots where my bird would maybe fly off in a direction that I wasn't attempting to lead it to, but then after just a few seconds, it would get back on track. So I did want to point that out because I had to kind of course correct my bird when it would go a different direction, but this happened maybe 2 or 3 times. But man, playing with a controller and hitting a speed boost or a wind tunnel or anything like that just to zip around the map even faster, it all felt great. Now, as this game is a much shorter and beautiful experience, and as much as I enjoy that challenge of my reflexes with combat and movement, or a game that has me critically thinking for a story or puzzle, sometimes I want something that's just simple. Yeah. Nothing that's complicated or something that makes my brain go brrrr. You know, I just want a beautiful little area to fly around in and play with some goofy little creatures. And that is what the Heart of Flock is. Now, if you don't want that or you don't enjoy those kinds of games, then maybe this isn't for you. But sometimes you're in the mood for something that's just a little bit different. This one specifically hit me at just the right time and place to where I enjoyed it very much. I've recently played a lot of faster or deeper, meaningful games, and something as simple as this was just right. Now, on Steam, this game is $20. For me, I would say that it's worth it because I enjoy these kinds of games, but I could see the average person waiting until it's down to maybe $15 or $10, and I would say that would be the sweet spot if you're not super into these games, just to experience it for maybe even an hour or two and not play all the way through, since it is a very short title that doesn't have a ton going for it, and there is no replayability and the mechanics are very simple. But if you go into this game knowing that, then I guarantee you will enjoy yourself. And if it's not for you, that is perfectly fine. But that's going to be it for this review of Flock. As always, I hope you liked it. If you made it to the end, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff, yada yada, you know what it is, and I'll see you next time.